Live from London, this is BBC News. Vladimir Putin says a drone strike on Moscow is a clear sign of terrorist activity by the Ukrainians and accuses them of trying to frighten the Russian people.
As a response, as you know, the Kiev regime chose a different path of frightening Russia, frightening the citizens of Russia and hitting the residential buildings.
Kyiv denies being behind the attack and endured another night of Russian strikes on their capital, the 17th attack this month. The head of China's disease control agency says it is possible that COVID could have leaked from a laboratory in Wuhan. And the UK government is to crack down on legal loopholes which it says encourages children to start vaping. Hello, I'm Matthew Emery-Waller and welcome to Verified Live, 3 hours of breaking stories and checking out the truth behind them. Well, let's start with Russia because in the last hour or so, Vladimir Putin has accused Ukraine of trying to provoke Russia with this morning's drone attack on Moscow and claiming that the drones were aimed at civilian targets. Well, there are no reports of deaths from this morning's incident, but several buildings were damaged. Russia's foreign ministry said that the country has the right to take the harshest measures in response. Meanwhile, Ukraine has denied responsibility for those scenes and that attack. This was Vladimir Putin, though, in the last little while.
As a response, as you know, the Kiev regime chose a different path of frightening Russia, frightening the citizens of Russia and hitting the residential buildings. Of course, this is a clear sign of terrorist activity. Well, first of all, I want to say the air defence system of Moscow worked normally, satisfactorily, although there are things to work on.
Well, more on those comments in a moment, but let's focus on those drones attacking Moscow. Our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, was in the city when the attack took place.
Russian TV says this is the moment that Moscow came under attack. From early morning, people in and around the Russian capital reported hearing explosions. I did too. At home, my windows shook from the force of the blasts. Russia's defense ministry says that Ukraine had targeted Moscow with drones. The Russian military claimed it had brought them all down. Look at that, a man says in this video, right above our house. Later, Russian investigators announced that no one had been injured. They've opened an official investigation into the attack. One of the drones had crashed into a high-rise apartment block. Another reportedly flew into this residential building. Here's part of it on the ground. It had failed to explode. The area was cordoned off and emergency services removed it. Amongst local residents, the sense of shock is palpable. We're all on edge, Marat says. I don't know what we should do about it. I fear for my life and the lives of my loved ones, says Yelena. Things are not as calm and stable as we've been told.
The Moscow authorities say there was minor damage, no serious injuries, and the situation is under control. But for Muscovites, this drone attack is a wake-up call, a sign that this war, that many here still perceive as being far away, is coming much closer to home.
That feeling has been growing since these explosions over the Kremlin early this month, an apparent drone attack. And just days ago, a large-scale cross-border incursion from Ukraine into Russian territory was another embarrassment for the Russian authorities and a sign of growing insecurity. But no sign of any political U-turn. After this morning's drone attack, the message from the Kremlin is clear. What it calls the special military operation in Ukraine will continue.